Caitlyn Clark, right? Like, she's lighting things up. She's probably made more in NIL money, or could potentially make more. The money in the WNBA is non-existent.
Right.
Like,
but she could change that.
But can she?
Something went down behind closed doors in Indiana. Something that could change everything we thought we knew about the Fever. Multiple podcasters and online insiders claim a private meeting took place at Pacers Entertainment headquarters, bringing together billionaire owner Steve Simon, head coach Stephanie White, and top Fever executives. What was said in that room hasn't been confirmed publicly, but if the reports are even partly true, it could explain every strange thing we've seen lately, from unusual lineup choices to Caitlyn Clark's evolving role, and
I feel like your two Iowa teams left a mark on women's college basketball, but also women's basketball at large. Is that like kind of crazy to think about? Like, you were a part of something that was a catalyst for this like larger group.
I had heard about this Caitlyn Clark, and I was like watching videos of her just like having like 40 points, like averaging.
To really understand how we got here, you have to know who's actually running the Indiana Fever. Most fans think they're just another WNBA team, but behind the scenes, they're part of one of the most powerful sports empires in the country. The Fever are owned by the Simon family, the same billionaires who control the Indiana Pacers and the massive Simon Property Group, the largest shopping mall company in the United States. At the top sits Herb Simon, a 90-year-old legend in Indiana business circles, but no longer involved in daily operations. That responsibility now falls to his son, Stephen Howard Simon, vice chairman of Pacers Sports and Entertainment. Insiders say Steve quietly makes the real decisions for both franchises. He's not flashy, rarely posts online, and doesn't need to, because when you oversee an empire worth billions, power speaks for itself. So when Fever ticket sales began to dip, TV ratings slipped, and Caitlyn Clark's name stopped dominating headlines, sources say the Simons took notice. And when billionaires start noticing, phones start ringing.
Caitlyn Clark and Nafisa Collier were named WNBA All-Star captains for this year's WNBA All-Star Game. The captains were chosen via fan vote, and Caitlyn Clark received 1.29 million All-Star votes this year.
When Caitlyn Clark entered the WNBA, she wasn't just another rookie. She was a full-blown movement. Her debut shattered viewership records. Her jersey sales sold out overnight. Indiana Fever tickets, once hard to give away, suddenly became impossible to find. For the first time in years, Indiana basketball, beyond the Pacers, was the center of national attention. Every logo 3 she launched wasn't just a shot, it was marketing magic. Brands wanted her face, networks wanted her games, and kids everywhere wanted to play like her. Clark's arrival was supposed to usher in a new era for both the Fever and the entire WNBA. But then something shifted. The system changed. The coach changed. And the team's entire identity seemed to stall. The deep threes vanished, the highlights slowed, and the Fever's style turned safe and predictable. Fans began asking, what happened to Caitlyn Clark's freedom? And quietly, deep inside Pacers Entertainment headquarters, that same question was reportedly being asked by someone much more powerful.
2 turnovers in a row, and Steph yanked me, and she was like, this is like a learning moment. Do we need that in this moment? Like, no. And then she subbed me back in. There was a play where I kind of got a steal, and like we're going in transition, and Kelsey Mitchell just like takes off down the middle of the floor, and so there's like 2 people kind of by her, and I literally like go to grab the ball, and then I like just dribble out.
When Stephanie White took over as head coach, her vision was simple: balance over flash, teamwork over stardom. She wanted motion, structure, and discipline, the kind of basketball purists adore, but casual fans often overlook. The result? Caitlyn Clark's role began to shrink. Her signature logo 3s disappeared, her creativity curbed, and at times she looked less like a generational scorer and more like a traditional floor general. To White's credit, the Fever did start winning. They even reached the playoffs for the first time in years. But while the team's record improved, their momentum off the court didn't. Ticket sales dipped, ratings cooled, and social media buzz faded. Because, let's be honest, the WNBA's biggest draw isn't just winning. It's Caitlyn Clark being Caitlyn Clark. And, according to reports, that's when things got tense behind the scenes. When the profits dipped, the billionaires paying the bills allegedly decided it was time to step in, And that's where the story takes a dramatic turn.
I think it's a really big thing that Diana Taurasi got on the mic and she said these things about Clark after. It kind of, I don't know if it's going to change the viewpoint of Caitlyn Clark from a lot of these old bitter, all these old bitter Bettys that are still in the league.
According to comments uncovered during a Fever fan livestream, later picked up by multiple podcasters, an insider claimed that Steve Simon personally called a closed-door meeting with head coach Stephanie White and top executives Amber Cox and Kelly Kroskoff. The alleged message was unmistakable. This is CCT from here on out. Translation: Caitlyn Clark's team. If true, that meant a direct mandate from ownership to rebuild everything: the offense, the brand, and the organization's entire focus around Clark. Why? Because she isn't just a basketball player. She's a billion-dollar investment in media, marketing, and national relevance. The report claims Simon instructed that every decision moving forward must prioritize Clark, her comfort, her usage, and her visibility. But not everyone in that room was reportedly on board. Sources say Stephanie White pushed back hard, refusing to abandon her system for a single player. When Simon allegedly responded, "You don't have to like it, but that's the way it is," the atmosphere in that office turned explosive. What happened next, insiders say, could define the Fever's future.
You don't understand how hard it was for me to not throw that. And she's like, "Oh, I know. Trust me." Everybody was like, "We saw you about to throw that." But I think it's just like kind of a learning process.
This clip bothered me because if you watch that play where she didn't pass Kelsey the ball after Coach Stephanie White benched her for having a few turnovers in a row, that would have been a momentum shift.
While nothing has been officially confirmed, this is where speculation begins to match reality. After that rumored meeting inside Pacers entertainment headquarters, fans started noticing subtle but unmistakable changes within the Indiana Fever organization. Publicly, head coach Stephanie White began emphasizing Kelsey Mitchell's role, praising her as the key to the Fever's offense moving forward. But privately, insiders whispered that the coaching staff and front office were no longer aligned. The supposed rift wasn't just about basketball philosophy. It was about power. White reportedly wanted to keep her motion-heavy, team-oriented offense intact, while ownership, led by Steve Simon, allegedly wanted to reshape the franchise around one undeniable force: Caitlyn Clark. And when billionaires and basketball coaches collide, it's usually the billionaires who win. To her credit, White didn't immediately bend to the pressure. She doubled down on her vision, insisting on structure and balance, even as fans voiced growing frustration over Clark's reduced freedom and fewer highlight moments. That's when the speculation reached overdrive. Was White's job safe? Was the front office divided? And most importantly, had Caitlyn Clark become caught in the middle of a silent tug-of-war she never asked for? According to some insiders, that tension might explain why the Fever's off-season now feels clouded in uncertainty. Because if ownership truly chose a side, then the coaching staff's future may not be as secure as it seems. Here's the reality. Billionaire owners don't stress over offensive schemes. They care about the numbers. Ticket sales, viewership, sponsorship revenue. Those are the scoreboards that really matter upstairs. And when it comes to those numbers, no one in women's sports history has ever matched Caitlyn Clark. When Clark was given the green light early in the season, the Fever's metrics exploded: sold-out arenas, record-breaking TV ratings, and viral moments nearly every game. But as her role became more restrained, the energy cooled. That isn't speculation, it's business data. So, when reports surfaced that Steve Simon allegedly summoned the Fever's leadership to demand the franchise become CCT, Caitlyn Clark's team, actually made sense from a corporate perspective. You protect the asset driving your revenue. You build around what fans pay to see. It's not ego, it's economics. And the Simon family didn't build a billion-dollar empire by ignoring economic logic. If your most profitable brand starts losing momentum, you don't wait, you act. Now, to be clear, all of this remains unconfirmed. None of these alleged meetings or directives have been acknowledged publicly. But when you trace the timeline, the internal friction, the sudden marketing shifts, and the strategic silence from both the front office and coaching staff, the pattern forms on its own. The dots connect too neatly to ignore. Because this story isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about who truly runs Indiana sports. Is it the coach pacing the sidelines, or the billionaire upstairs with the final word? If the rumors are even partially true, the Fever aren't just Caitlyn Clark's team because of her talent. They're hers because ownership decided it. And if that's the case, then every coach, executive, and player in Indiana just got a new boss. One who wears number 22. Think about how we got here. A 90-year-old legend, Herb Simon, hands control of his sports empire to his son, Steve. A once-in-a-generation athlete arrives and changes the economics of an entire league overnight. A coach, caught between philosophy and profit, tries to hold her ground. And somewhere in the middle, a quiet struggle unfolds over who controls the future of women's basketball in Indiana. It sounds like a sports drama, but the evidence, the timing, and the refusal from key figures to address the whispers all make it hard to dismiss. No one's outright denying the rumors. No one's clarifying them either. And sometimes silence says everything. If this narrative is even halfway true, Caitlyn Clark hasn't just revolutionized the Fever. She's rewritten the organization's power structure. Her influence extends beyond the court, shaping decisions that reach boardrooms and balance sheets. That's a kind of power the WNBA has never seen before. So now, the big question looms. What happens next? If ownership has indeed declared this Caitlyn Clark's team, then next season won't simply be about wins and losses. It'll be about alignment and survival. Will Stephanie White adjust her system to fully unleash Clark's strengths? Or will this philosophical divide mark the end of her tenure in Indiana? Will veterans like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston embrace the new hierarchy, or quietly resist it? Because in professional locker rooms, every player wants to lead, and there's only room for one true star in a franchise built around a global brand. Already, the signs of a shift are everywhere. Marketing materials have become more Clark-centric. Executives have begun talking about maximizing our global reach. Translation: the Fever are doubling down on Caitlyn Clark, not just as a player, but as the face of a billion-dollar business strategy. Expect new sponsorships, revamped offensive schemes, and a steady stream of campaigns centered around her image and story. Because Clark isn't just a phenom anymore. She's an industry. And when an industry is that valuable, the people in charge will protect it at all costs. The Fever might not admit it publicly, but their actions are louder than any press release. Every sign points toward a massive internal pivot, one that could define the franchise's identity for years to come. So as the dust settles in Indiana, one thing is undeniable. The power dynamics have shifted. The money is watching. The fans can sense it. The only question left when the next season tips off is simple. Who will still be standing when the final buzzer sounds?